ever watched fairy tale theater it was in the 80s. I was a huge fan. My dad would take me down to Cozy Video in Petaluma on Petaluma Boulevard, and I could choose one to rent for the weekend. And it was all these little fairy tales movies, and I'll just never forget the way it always opened with Shelley Duvall coming out and saying, "Hello, welcome to Fairy Tale Theater. I'm Shelley Duvall." So I'm going to try it this week. Hello, welcome to Everything's Relative with Eve Sturgis. I'm Eve Sturgis. Actually, there's a secret is that the only reason that my podcast title has my name in it, like Everything's Relative with Eve Sturgis, is for web search purposes or podcast search purposes. So it was impossible to find if you just tried to look up Everything's Relative, tons of things would come up. But if you add with Eve Sturgis, it comes up way faster. So I'm telling you that because I'm really nobody. I know that I'm nobody, and having my name in the title feels very ridiculous. But here we are. And now I have to say it all the time, and I hate it. So that's the exciting behind the scenes tale of the title of our podcast. Wow. The stuff you get. Actually, or welcome. This podcast is dedicated. What we really do here, when I'm not rambling about silly things. We are dedicated to exploring all the ways that people's lives are changed by DNA discoveries. How people all over the place, in all walks of life, they're discovering things that upend everything they knew about who they are, or who they thought they were, or who they thought their parents were. It can be a real mess. So I'm here to talk to people about it in all sorts of ways. Today's episode actually is going to be a little bit different. It's another episode that I am considering a crossover episode with Julie Dixon Jackson from the fantastic genealogy podcast, Cutoff Genes. If you haven't listened to it, go find it now. So this is kind of part 2 of the crossover episode that we did back in 2019, season 1, which seems like yesterday and also eons ago. I did my first ever recreational DNA test at her house, and we told each other bits of our stories. So if you missed that episode and it sounds interesting to you, go find it. That is the thing about podcasts. Our episodes are always around somewhere. So you can go to Cutoff Genes with Julie Dixon Jackson and find it on her podcast, or you can go back to my season 1 on Everything's Relative with Eve Sturgis and find it there. Anyway, we had a really great time, and I finally did an Ancestry.com. No, I did 23andMe with her at the time, and then I recently did Ancestry.com, and so I called her and was like, okay, finally got my results. And so we did this fun episode together. And so here's the thing. I don't talk much about my story. I here on this podcast. And a few of you have started to notice. I've gotten some comments and some questions about it. So if this is intriguing to you, this might be a good episode for you. Julie and I talk more in depth about my story than I ever do or have ever done before. So now's your chance. I'll be honest. In the process of making this episode, it takes a couple. I recorded and then anyway. There's a lot of steps. So I woke up last night in the middle of the night thinking I'm going to take out that big part because it's personal and it's suggestive But now I'm here and I'm reading over the transcript again and I'm listening to the recording and I'm just going to keep it all in because all of this is public information anyway. Which is to say, I feel really vulnerable sharing this with you. Some of it is stuff I've considered taking out, and I try to approach this topic conversationally and a bit lightheartedly, but I also want to acknowledge how raw the truth is. What am I trying to say? I want to acknowledge how raw the truth of this issue really is. I'm really feeling it today. So Thank you for listening and holding this part of my story. I'll just go ahead and play it now. This is Everything's Relative with Eve Sturgis.
I have to tell you, that as I was doing this, I was kind of having an existential crisis for you.
For me?
Let me just say, because I mean, I know and for the listener, let's just really do a very bullet points callback of your MPE story, which is that you were contacted by a man who said he was your father. Out of the blue.
Yeah, he said out of the blue. No inkling, no suspicion, no surprise. I have no story to say about, I guess I felt different and unique, but I didn't think it was so important as a part of my identity. And my parents are still married to this day, the man and woman that raised me. And this man said, I think I'm your father, actually. And he was correct. And so I've done, and then, almost like it took, like for most people with these experiences, it took a little while to process. And then when I was ready to really dive in and figure this out and embrace it, the pandemic hit.
Right.
So I've just been sort of sitting on this information, very unsure of what to do. And then I can get into why just hesitating to I mean, I've waited 2 years now to do Ancestry. So here we are.
So I remembered basically your basic story, and I don't know any of your name. I don't know any of the names, and I don't know your maternal side names either. I received your results 24 hours ago. My goal was to build your tree out as far as I could with the existing matches. And what's interesting is that you have way more paternal matches than maternal matches.
Okay.
What? What? Whoa!
That fall. Yeah. I mean, I think that tracks.
Okay.
Like tracks with my 23andMe experience. In that, it's just list upon list of names I don't recognize.
Yeah. You have one close maternal match. And if it weren't for that, I may not know who your maternal family is yet. But I do because of that one match. Anyway, all right, so let's have a look at your ethnicity estimate now, which is really neither here nor there, but, I just think it's interesting. All right, so what your Ancestry DNA ethnicity estimate says, 55% England, Northwestern Europe, which tracks, 37% Scotland. Is that a surprise to you at all?
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's surprising. So, I mean, it's not the biggest surprise in the world, but I thought we were totally Irish and English.
From what I know about your matches so far and about your tree so far, I thought it would be reversed. I thought that you would have more Ireland than Scotland. Now, keeping in mind that Ireland and Scotland are often interchangeable. In fact, if you look at this, if we go in and look closer at Scotland... So this is the highlighted part of Scotland. Part of it is part of Northern Ireland as well.
Oh, right. Okay.
All right. And then there's 2% Germanic Europe, which is neither here nor there. And then these are your additional communities, which all track somewhat for as far as I could get. Specifically the Pennsylvania. You got lots of Pennsylvania. I think you probably already know that.
Oh,
Pennsylvania on my paternal side?
No, maternal.
Okay, I was going to say I knew about Pennsylvania on my maternal side.
Yeah,
okay.
You have a little on your paternal side, but not as much. All right, now we're going to go to your DNA results summary. All right, you ready?
Okay.
I'm going to click on view all DNA matches and I just want to get your initial reaction.
Yeah.
You may not even know what you're looking at right away, but here they come. Oh, that's me. I'm the worst person in the world. Okay, hold on.
Not the worst
person in the world. Let's move this over here. Okay, because you were view another test.
Hilarious.
Look at all my tests that I manage.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Isn't that crazy? Take two. Here we go. That I noticed that said 72 starred matches, and I'm like, I'm sure I didn't star 72 matches.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Yeah. Here we come. Boom.
Ah, wow.
Okay, does he look familiar?
Yeah. Wow.
All right, so let's go with the first thing I saw was I didn't know your biological father had tested, did you?
No.
Okay, well, he did.
Okay, yeah. Clearly,
because
clearly
this
he
is
did.
him. This is him. Obviously, it doesn't have his name. Somebody else manages that. And then I'd forgotten that he had passed, obviously, since he took the test.
Yeah.
So for a while, I was like, oh, okay, fine. All right, so as we go down here, I'll just tell you everything that has a blue dot next to it is paternal. Everything that has some form of pink next to it is maternal. Okay?
Yeah.
So we're going all the way down here. Look at all the blue.
Oh, you're right.
I
I definitely don't want to be like any kind of commercial or sponsoring one test over the other, but this is way more interesting.
Yeah, it's much more.
Way more interesting.
Yeah, it's much more user friendly.
I don't know why. Yeah.
Okay, so, and so your first. Let's look at your maternal. Your first is your cousin Ariel. You know her, yes?
Yep, I know her. She lives. Yep, I won't tell you where she lives, but she's a veterinarian. She's very great. She's a good cousin.
And your second is your.
Yeah, no, Aiden and Ariel and I are all. Yeah, we're all close.
Very good. Okay.
I didn't know they had done the test though, which is interesting because because of my situation, and they know about it, and no one told me that they had done the test.
Oh, interesting. Okay, so Ariel does have and thanks to Ariel's tree, that's really the only way I was able to figure out who your mother was. Because Aiden doesn't, and I figured out who he was much later in the game. But but anyway, so Ariel, all right. Now with all of these matches, as you go down, if you see there's a little check mark next to their icon image or whatever it is with a tree, that means that I have already put them in the tree. And you can click on that and find them in the tree. So I'm going to click on him now and take you to him. And there he is.
So Julie, I have to tell you, this is the first time I've seen him listed like this. Yeah.
You mean something officially saying this is your father?
Yeah. He and I did a forensic DNA test. So I have a letter. That says that he's 99.999% my father, but I've never seen him come up. I mean, I haven't done this. I just haven't done this. Like I have just very.
So yeah, wow. I was all of a sudden when I saw him, I was like, oh wait a minute, is this the right guy? And I suddenly started thinking, what if this isn't who she thought it was?
Oh my God. I mean, for viewership purposes, that would be amazing. I'm so glad we don't have a second level of a surprise right now.
Exactly. Okay. I want to click on him, on his profile. Now, as I was filling out his part of the tree, and all the stuff I got about him, that was when I started having the existential crisis.
Yeah.
Because reading his obituary blew my mind. Have you read his obituary?
If it's the same one I've read, yep.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, I read one that was like, I'm sure it was the same one.
Well, let's see. I have it in here. It's in the gallery. What I get from him is he was very... charismatic character. And just was very proud of his heritage, the Mayflower descendants and the Sons of the American Revolution and all this stuff. Very proud of it. Also very very strong in his religious convictions. And then what lists his children. Now, have you spoken to any of his children?
I have met with one, and I'm sort of in, and I'm in contact with 3 of them.
Oh,
but,
okay.
But we're still, I mean, I'm sure a lot of people relate to this, but it's uncomfortable
Yeah.
and it's awkward and it's hard we don't really know where to, I don't know how they feel, but I don't know where to start.
Yeah.
So we are, yeah, so I am in touch, but yes, to answer your question, yes, 3 of them I'm in touch with.
They don't all have the same mother, right? That you know
Correct.
of?
No,
Okay.
there's
Because he only lists one wife in the obituary. Well, he didn't do it,
right.
so maybe she probably she probably
there were many. Yes. I'm just stating a fact. There were many women.
Yes.
Many mothers.
Yes.
Many mothers.
Many mothers indeed. And then my favorite part of this, and I don't want to trigger you, but
nothing. No, you won't.
My favorite part is the quote from him at the bottom.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Do you want me to read it, or do you want to?
I think
can I read it out loud?
I think you should. Please.
This is a quote from your biological father. Who? Let me see. Are you okay with saying when you were born? Does it matter?
No. I can say it when I was born.
You were born in 1980.
Yep.
And wait, I want to go up first before I read that
no,
because there's something else. So he was a doctor of sorts. And he said his always regarded a turning point in his life occurred when he had what he described as a spiritual experience with Jesus Christ after returning from Angola to his home in 1976, where a Canadian logger shared the message of salvation found in Jesus Christ.
Yes.
You were born in 1980.
I was born 4 years after that.
Yep. Okay. We can just let that hang there. Now, just here's the quote.
Put a pin in it. Put a pin in it.
Pin in that. Here's the quote. I believe that there is no compromise on pro-life, Bible-based marriage, parental rights, Second Amendment, our constitutional republic, and or the free enterprise system. I oppose without apology abortion, infanticide, euthanasia, same-sex marriage, pornography, promiscuity, radical Islam, corrupt governments, secular humanism, and atheists, to include communists, socialists, fascists, and progressives. Yay!
I had not read that in a while. I know we're just doing this like fun podcast and like I knew a lot of this stuff, but I have not visited a lot of this in a really long time.
Okay. If it's triggering, tell me.
No, it's not triggering no, I'm not feeling negative feelings, but I'm just feeling like really big existential, like wow feelings.
Existential.
And just like,
that was how I felt too. I'm like, what is he talking about?
And I don't remember. I know this quote, but I did not remember the second or the like last part of it that includes communist, socialist, fascists, and progressives.
Progressives, thank you. Yeah.
I don't remember that part.
Wow. Yeah.
This really feels like I'm learning a new.
Yeah, and there's also from it was in a tree, but it came from a Facebook page. Do you see what it says?
In Montgomery to pray for Chief Justice Roy Moore and his campaign for the U.S. Senate.
Remember Roy Moore?
I mean, no, yes and no.
Well, he was the one. He was the pedophile.
Oh God. Oh my God.
I was like, you are all sorts of confused, sir.
Wow.
I just find it so fascinating.
Wow. So who? Okay. Wow.
So everything that you see here came from other people's trees.
Yeah.
And things that came up as clues in the last 24 hours, basically.
Can I can I interrupt?
Yes.
Can we be all over the place for this podcast?
Of course.
Can I tell you that this is also the first time, I think, although it says it in the obituary, I realize now, that his date of death. So I didn't know that he had died until somebody, a mystery person, contacted me the night before his funeral and asked if I was going to be there.
Oh.
In Florida, and I had no idea that he had died.
Oh wow.
And there's a whole story there. However, I'm looking at so that was like the 26th or the 27th. It was towards the end of July. Mm-hmm. I'm looking at his death date now, and that is my youngest daughter's birthday my husband's They both have the same birthday.
So you were having a baby the day he died?
The next year. It was a year later.
Oh, I see.
But,
right.
Yeah, it was a year. But like, it's just it's just weird that date just keeps coming up.
Yeah, that is weird.
Yeah, my daughter was born on my husband's birthday.
Wow.
And,
Wow.
And yeah, okay.
Yeah.
But yes, just.
So these are all half siblings of yours. Now, this is interesting, and this is something for people that people need to pay attention to. People's trees that are connected to their DNA are not necessarily their biological trees, and we'll see more about that later. But he doesn't list anybody on his father's side, so it's not that it's not his tree. He just doesn't have anybody up there.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I'm going to click through to him now, to him in the tree. Okay. So.
I'm really pleased to announce that this is really fascinating to me.
Good. I'm
after
that too.
23andMe being, I looked at it and was like, well, that's a long list of names I don't know, and
right.
Well, I just kind of have been.
Well, you still would have had a long list of names. This was all. You know, I did this all in like 4 hours or something like that.
Wow. I see why.
Now I get it.
I don't.
Okay, so anybody, when you're looking at your tree like this, anybody that has this little DNA thing with a check, they are DNA matches.
Right.
So we're going to get to this one in a little bit.
Okay,
let's go over here. He is like your fourth match down. Do you know who that is?
No.
He's your first cousin. He is your father's brother's son.
Okay. So the person above him is his father.
The person above him
is his brother.
Is your uncle.
My uncle. Okay.
Correct.
Got it.
Yes. Now going above them. Now we have all of these people, and I just really focused on the direct line for now. I'm going to put the tree sideways, or what we call pedigree mode. Okay, to always start from you, we click that little home right there. And now I'm going to go in pedigree view so that now we can see. Aha.
Okay. Yeah. Now, yeah. Yep.
That's your mother, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes,
okay.
It is.
I did it. I got it right.
Nailed it.
Okay. So, now you've mentioned before about the Mayflower thing.
Yep.
And so that comes from also you may notice there are 2 Robinsons here that eventually, and so when we see that as a genetic genealogist, when we see that we get cold water runs through our veins because we're scared that that's an endogamy situation, which makes everything much more difficult. However, they do not appear to be related.
Okay.
So that's good.
Okay.
All right. So let's go.
Dodged a bullet.
Yes. Oh, this line right here begins with an F. That is the Mayflower Line. So they were, most of these people up here have been here since the 1600s.
Wow. Okay.
And in fact, on your maternal side too.
Well,
yeah.
Ha.
There you go. Let's see. Go down here. All right. So, I won't go through each line, but it's pretty self-explanatory. And now, and I will do a disclaimer. This is what we call a quick and dirty tree. The fact that I did it in 4 hours, I was basically just going off hints and matches. And if anything looked like it didn't quite fit, like I got several hints that were wrong. And so I had to quickly do a double check and say, no, that's not who we're looking for. So by no means is this a genealogically sound tree.
Right, like a thorough.
Yes, like nothing. There are no notations or anything. However, that being said, I use mainly DNA, and I'm pretty sure most of it is right.
Yeah, I mean, it looks, my maternal side looks.
Does it look right? How far up have you gone on your maternal?
Spot on.
How far
That's
up
as
have you
far
gone
as I know. That's actually as far as I know. And I could. Yeah, I mean, I think.
Watch this.
I'm sure that my mom and her siblings could probably go further. But I'll tell you. The Maynard, that M name. Yeah, I know that name.
Okay. Yeah, we have matches that go down from that. Actually, from here. You have a third cousin that comes from this one. That was
wow.
another one that told me. And then I haven't even gone, look, I have more clues here with her. See, and these are all the Pennsylvania people.
Yeah.
So you knew that, right? Okay. Then let's look at these people. Okay, he comes from Wales, but he actually is British.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, they're British, they're Irish, right?
Yep.
Yep, that's what I got too. And then let's look on this side. These have been here forever.
Here in America?
Yes.
Yes.
And I think, see this name right here? The H name? I think that's the Scottish. Because that's a Scottish name. I mean, but they have been, I mean, this is 1830 and they were in Pennsylvania. So, see, I tried to get as far back as I could because I was trying to see if I could find who came from Scotland, and everybody was in the U.S.
Yeah.
These could be Scottish names. New York. See?
Yeah,
we got to keep going back. Look, I haven't even got, but I have more hints.
Wow.
Let's just have it. Let's do this in real time. Oh, Pennsylvania. These people are
we're
pioneers.
Just really American. We're just really American.
You're very, very American.
Wow.
Okay, let's look at this side.
That is so interesting that both sides, like, that's not something that my maternal side talks about, or I mean, it's not, I just don't know if we know that.
Yeah.
As a point of pride, whereas my new bio dad they have, it's clearly a point of pride.
Oh,
they talk,
clearly.
it's a very big deal for them.
Yes. Well, we can get back to that later, but needless to say, you're very American.
Very American. And when you go down, closer to more recent generations.
Who are you looking for?
Let's see. Me.
Oh,
basically.
Yeah.
Or okay. So I'm just seeing that. So if they have a leaf by their name, that means that they have done Ancestry.com or what?
No, the leaf, the little leaf means that they have a hint for you. So this is your dad, your birth certificate dad.
Yeah, I didn't think he would show up on there at all.
Well, he's there because I put him there.
Oh,
he's there because I found a marriage between him and your mom.
Right.
So he's there. But
otherwise
that's the only reason he's there. But there are 21 hints for him, which is amazing because he's still living, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So look, there's his birth date.
Mm-hmm.
Wait a minute. Oh, is this his mother's obituary? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And his dad, my granddad. Yeah.
Yep. I know so much. Oh, look, there's your dad in high school.
Yeah, isn't he cute? That tracks. Yeah. Yep.
Look at all these high school pictures.
Well, yeah, he was. It's a big deal.
Wow, he was very popular.
He's a big man on campus in San Jose.
Oh, he's so cute. Okay.
Did I ever tell you that one of the first NPEs I interviewed for my podcast went to high school with my mom and dad?
Shut up.
And she was an NPE. So like the connection was totally bananas, but she said where she grew up, and I was like, oh yeah, my parents grew up there. My mom and dad went to high school there. And she was like, oh, what high school did they go to? And she was like, yeah, I knew that. And she was like, in choir with my mom.
Wow, that's crazy. Yeah. Oh my
and I was
gosh.
like, well, let me tell you what happened to them a few years later.
Well, let me tell you a story.
Yeah.
All right. All right, let's go back to, can you see this?
Mm-hmm.
Back to, all right.
Seeing me and the C brother.
Gotcha. The C brother. Let's look at this other close family person.
Yeah.
She look familiar? Sound familiar?
Nope.
That's a half sibling to you. On your father's side.
Okay.
Now, we don't know whether or not she knows.
Okay. I think she knows. I mean, I think she knows. I don't know what she knows, but I think she's at least clued into my bio dad.
Okay.
He if she's who I think she is, he said that someone had found him on Ancestry.
Okay.
So I bet that's her.
Because I thought it was interesting that the tree connected to her DNA is none of these people are related to your father or you or anybody. It's clearly her adopted family or her birth certificate father's family. This may be her mother. But these people are all Italian, and
I was just about to say very Italian.
You have nobody in your family is Italian.
No.
So yeah, I thought that was fascinating. So she's like an added extra that, by the way, was also not mentioned in his obituary. So neither of you were mentioned. Who knows how many there are?
Yeah.
Crazy, huh?
Yeah. So do I send her a message?
And whatever you want. I mean, I would be curious. I would be like, do you know, have you noticed how closely we match? Do you have any questions? That's what I would say. You certainly, the fact that this tree is here, connected to her DNA is, I mean, to her, that's probably her family. It's
absolutely.
kind of bad form to put that tree there with your DNA, because genealogists use the trees connected to your DNA to build their trees.
Right.
So this, if somebody
confuses things, right.
For somebody not as advanced to me, that could throw the whole thing off. But I knew pretty quickly that, well, that's clearly not her
no
tree.
way.
Yeah, exactly. Let's see. Let's go to shared matches. Okay, so this is a name.
So that, I'm sorry, the one above it, the T, that's my cousin. That's a first cousin?
That's your first cousin. That is your uncle's son.
Got it. Okay.
Yep.
All right. Sorry. So that you were going to tell me something about the person below them.
Yeah. This is, so the people with these names. All right. So, let me see. I wrote the ones that I didn't have time to put in the tree. I just put a star next to them and made a note that I knew what line they were from, but I didn't have time to actually build it down. So, he, your great grandmother on your great grandmother on your grandmother's side, was that name. And he descends from her too. Does that make sense? Yeah. And all of these people, the ones that have no tree at all, it would take me longer to figure out exactly where they fit, obviously.
Sure. Oh, I recognize that name from
one?
my 23andMe list.
Oh. This one?
That yep.
Okay. Yeah.
She's like towards the top.
Okay.
Or whatever. I've seen her name
on
a lot
23andMe.
for whatever reason.
See?
Yeah.
And
but she's on my maternal side? You think she's on? No, paternal. No. Sorry. She's blue. Sorry.
Yes. Do you know who this is?
Mm-mm.
Oh, okay. Because I thought I saw her on your Facebook page.
Mm-mm.
I guess it was just that last name is relatively common.
Maybe,
and I saw it. I was like, wait a minute. Okay. Cool.
Nope.
All right. So, in a nutshell.
Wow.
That's it. That is what I was able to do. So my whole point in doing this was to demonstrate, if you were my client.
Yeah.
And as if you didn't know who either of your parents were.
Yeah.
So I was able to figure out your parents and your tree in like just the few hours that I had with the DNA.
That was amazing.
Yeah. I mean, of course your father is in here, so that wasn't difficult at all.
Sure.
But yeah, it was more difficult with the mother, which is kind of funny. So
yeah,
it never would have been.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'm so. Talk me through it again. What was his reason for contacting you?
He said, I wish my husband could my husband, the reason I always wish my husband could tell the story is because it was actually told to him, not to me. So,
all right. And you never spoke to him yourself, right?
No, I never spoke to him.
That's a bummer.
Yeah, really a bummer.
Yeah.
None of it. I mean, what goes according to plan, but, so he said that he was, he'd been sick, and which had brought on a lot of self-reflection.
Oh, okay.
And after years of talking with people and praying about it, he decided to reach out to me, because he wanted to make sure that if I didn't know yet, or it's like kind of hard to explain. He thought, he wanted me to know that he had tried to reach out.
Okay.
At least once.
You know what? That actually makes sense, because
that's
like actually telling me that this woman probably found him first and contacted him And then he probably said, how do you know that? And then he realized that his DNA out there is that more are going to come up. And so I think he was probably trying to get in front of it.
You might be very right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. And he said he assumed that I would have known or figured it out by now.
Oh.
And so he was interested that, or sort of amazed that I had never contacted him. And so so he, so that was a part of it and so he wanted to reach out. Oh, so that was why, sorry, I'm remembering it all now. So that was why he contacted my husband, because he thought maybe I did know and did not want to talk to him.
Gotcha.
So he thought like my husband would know.
Right, because your husband is the leader of the family.
Right.
Yes.
The head of the household. Head of the household.
Of course.
And
you're his handmaiden.
The screener of all my calls. And so yes.
Yeah. Okay.
First line of defense.
Yes. Oh, interesting. That's fascinating.
Yep.
So cool. So I've got a nice little tree started for you. And that's on your account. This is all from my account. What the stuff that I put in the tree, I'm not sure if it will show up on your account because you're not a paying member.
Oh, right.
So let me know. And I could get it to you a different way if you don't want to actually join Ancestry. Because part of being a paid Ancestry member is you get access to stuff like that.
Right. Well, I probably should be a paid member.
You can be, you know what, you can be a most minimal level just because the stuff is already in your tree. Because you don't, I can do most of the searching for you because I have everything.
Right.
I can find stuff all over the world. Well,
right. Amazing.
Kind of all over the world. But anyway.
Yeah.
So do you have any questions?
No. I mean, I just want to see, I don't know. I'm just intrigued. I'm just sort of like, I'm a little bit speechless.
Yeah.
'Cause all I want to say over and over again is like, this is so weird.
It's weird.
This is so weird.
Yeah. You're going to have fun going back to.
And I mean, I may have known at some point, but I don't feel like I knew his middle name. That picture right in the middle, that black and white one.
This one?
That's my favorite.
Syndicated broadcaster.
Yeah. That's the one where I was like, oh, that's my dad.
He looks like that magician, Blackstone.
Oh, yeah. Smoldering. I was focused on our eyebrow shape, but yes.
I have to say I do see you in him. Yeah, it's there. There's really no doubting that. He's a good-looking guy.
Yep.
Yeah.
He's a handsome fellow.
He is.
Okay. 1, 2, 3. Yes, the third name on that list is actually his oldest.
Okay. Oh, interesting.
From a previous.
Okay. Oh, that's interesting.
Like that makes us 4 or 5 mothers involved. So he's so
this one is probably the mother is probably the son of the current wife. Because traditionally in obituaries, the kids are listed by the oldest to youngest,
right?
Which is helpful in most situations, but clearly not this.
They didn't do that for this one at all.
You know what?
As far as I can tell,
I think his mother is still alive. Did you know that?
No. Should I find her?
So you haven't seen pictures of these people? Well, okay.
Only the siblings.
Okay. So this is your grandfather. He's a good-looking guy.
Yeah.
Let's see what comes up in his hints. I'm looking for a picture because I'm a child. I'm like, words.
Pictures. Yes. We like pictures.
We are visual people. Okay. Let's see if there's any pictures for Grandma. Yeah, I think she's still living. Here's your great-grandparents.
Oh.
Yeah.
I wish I felt more about this
extended family.
And then that makes me have more feeling, like the wishing I felt something. It's just
interesting. Yeah.
Strangers.
Well,
yeah.
I Yeah. For and that's something that I can't relate to because I've wanted that all my life because I've known that I didn't have it all my life. And so whenever I study pictures and you know, any kind of connection that I have to anybody is fascinating to me.
And there's no way to look at my birth certificate dad and see who on that side of the family has submitted stuff because he doesn't have a public tree.
No, because they won't connect to you.
Right. Oh.
You know what I'm saying? If he does a DNA
no,
test,
I just thought...
if he does a DNA test, I can look at his matches. But without that, I have no frame of reference because they're not connected to you biologically. They're not going to be on your list because all of those people on that list are just DNA matches. Yeah. So, you know, if he tests, let me know and I can.
I thought he did test.
At Ancestry?
What happens if you...
Oh, he might have.
What happens if you click on him?
Because this is the tree that I built.
Because he just
he has to connect himself to it. So ask him to give you Do you have any siblings that have tested?
No.
Okay. Yeah, ask him. And
this experience ruined everybody's opportunity. Yeah, this situation ruined anybody's opportunity to do this recreationally. So
yes, yeah, absolutely. So that's true. But I can, if he would be open to it, I'd be happy to look at it for him.
Okay.
You know.
Wow, Julie, this is amazing. Yeah, I don't know how that was for you, but
it was great.
Really interesting to me.
Yeah, I've always wanted to do that. Just to like give myself a time limit and just and I think it's good for listeners as well to know. You know, because sometimes I'll just if somebody isn't sure if they want to just hire me to find their family, they'll just hire me for a few hours and see how far I can get. In which case I could find their family. In your case, I did. Obviously had some on the paternal side. It wasn't much work at all. But yeah, I found both sides. But it was fun. It was fun. And it's gratifying to know that I was right.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, you were very right.
Yeah.
Right on as far as I can tell.
Yeah.
And I'm also just really like, I think I'm sure I'm just feeling a lot of things, but a new level of understanding of what it would be like to see that list of names and see the person at the top not be my father. If I hadn't known, that would have been it. That would have been the moment.
Yeah. I was shocked. I didn't expect him to be in there. So when it came up, I was like, oh, wait a minute. Is what?
Yeah.
It threw me for a few minutes.
Yeah. I have like a new visceral or like a real little, it's just so close. So easy. I just mailed in a thing.
So easy.
I just mailed in a thing. And then even though I knew that was going to come up, it still felt too easy.
Yep.
Way too
easy for your life to change.
For that man to be just right at the top.
Yeah. All right.
Interesting.
So my work here is done.
You did it.
I hope I didn't blow your mind too much.
Not more than I can handle.
Yeah, your mind is like permanently blown.
Kind of. Yeah.
I bet.
Wow. Well, thank you so much for spending the time on that.
Sure.
It's really, really generous of you. I really appreciate it.
No problem. All right. Okay. I can't wait for the listeners to hear this too, because I think it'll be a fun follow up.
Yeah, we figure this stuff out. And I'm
like a year and a half ago.
Yeah.
All right, hon. Hey, thanks for doing this.
Oh, thank you. You did everything.
You know.
I'll talk to you soon.
Okay, honey. I'll talk to you soon.
All right.
Okay, so you've heard it. It's out there, the whole thing. I feel a little bit like I'm standing in a public place with no clothes on or something. Now you know that I'm Scottish, half Pennsylvania Dutch, but the more personal stuff gets to be about who my bio dad is. That's where I start to really have lots of feelings. But I think that it's good for me to feel this way once in a while because I am certainly asking for honesty and vulnerability of my guests. And it's only fair that I would put myself in your shoes. It's good for me to remember. It's like a good reminder to me. And I'll be taking extra care of myself today, tending to the part of me that feels exposed. What else is going on in my life? Other things that make me feel vulnerable these days. Lots of changes afoot in our household. My oldest Lily. She's turning 18 and graduating high school this summer and going to college in the fall. So that's wild and crazy. Other things, what else is happening? I don't know. Johnny Cash is barely a puppy anymore. He's a big old dog. He's going to be spending more time in the office with me on work days, so I'm really looking forward to that. What else is new in the world so that you understand what was happening when this podcast came out? Oh, vaccinations against COVID-19 are the hottest trend this summer, and masks are coming off everywhere. Stay tuned for how that goes. If you want to catch up on new episodes and follow along with Everything's Relative, make sure you're following our Instagram account or our Facebook account. Both are called Everything's Relative Podcast. If you want to support this project in other ways, please give me a star rating on your podcast platform. Write a review for Apple Podcasts. If you really, I don't know why this is more supportive. They're all supportive actions. You can become a patron. You can sign up with Patreon. Support this podcast for as little as $1 a month. I think even less, 50 cents a month. If you do that, I will send you a tote bag and some other goodies. Does that sound fun? Do things make you want to do? Are they motivational? Okay. That means it's time for me to wrap it up. I'll be back next week with a new episode, and by then it will be mid-June, and we are officially in summertime, y'all. Until then, wash your hands, keep telling your truth, and don't forget to hydrate. Thanks so much. See you next time.
Everything's Relative with Eve Sturgis is produced by Kaylin Egan and Eve Sturgis. Eve is a licensed therapist in the state of California, but conversations on this podcast are not therapy sessions. This podcast is edited by Stephanie Delon-Zick, the logo design is by Ivy McNally, and the music is used with permission by Goodbye the Band.
Hello, listeners of Everything's Relative with Eve Sturgis.
Are you ready for a creepy promo?
My name is Muriel, and I love true crime.
I'm Nick, and I am not a fan of true crime.
Every week on our new podcast, Muriel's Murders, I handpick a real-life crime story that I think will blow Nick's mind.
Muriel is really enthusiastic about researching and telling me these stories, and boy, they are a lot.
Some of them are famous. Some of them are weirdly under the radar, but all of them contain crime, violence, and murder from across history and around the globe. How does that make you feel, Nikki?
Nervous?
Are you ready to hear a story?
No.
Too bad. Here comes Muriel's Murders.
So join us every Wednesday wherever you get your podcasts, and check out the original Muriel's Murders animations on Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, and TikTok at Muriel's Murders.
Campfire.